Here are 5 pop-up camper questions. There are so many ways to enjoy camping in a pop-up trailer. We are going to answer some questions we've gotten from you. And if you don't see your question answered, feel free to leave a comment and we can answer it below or in a future update video.
If you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and click subscribe and ding the bell so you can get notifications for whenever a new video comes out.
Do you camp when it's cold and rainy outside?
When we're camping, obviously, we live in Oregon, we run into rain quite a bit. And this was definitely one of the questions that we heard about with the pop-up, because if it is wet, you're then packing it up wet. So here is what we do when we've been camping in the rain.
When you are camping in the rain, it's kind of like camping with a tent. Yes, you got to pack it up and get it home, but as soon as you can, you want to get it back out so it can dry out thoroughly. If a pop-up camper, if those tent components are left wet and packed up, it is going to get mildewy and moldy and gross.
One of the things that we do is cover our mattresses in a cheap
like Dollar Tree
shower curtain,
yeah,
so that they have a kind of a plastic coating over the soft material, and that way when we're in transit, if the tent is a little bit wet, it's not soaking into the mattress. That really helps protect a lot of the soft surfaces. Yeah. One of the reasons we've loved having the pop-up is because it gives us just a little bit more shelter for that rainy camping. And it's made it so much easier in order to like extend our camping season into the rainy season.
Yeah.
So that we can kind of have that inside time, playing games, if it's really kind of not that nice outside, and eating inside and all of that just gives us a space to be easily to get out of the rain.
It doesn't hurt that our camper also has an onboard propane heater. So if it is kind of chilly, then we can fire that up, kind of get the chill off our bones, and that just adds a little extra coziness. Now, this is also Western Oregon, so this isn't a massively cold climate. So this is totally your mileage is going to vary in terms of how severe your winters are, things like that, and what your comfort level is with camping in like more inclement weather or colder temperatures. But for us, we can throw on a few layers, fire up the propane heater for a bit, bust out the books and the board games and the art supplies, and we can weather the weather.
Do you have a big pickup to haul a camper?
One of the great things about something like a pop-up trailer is you don't have to haul it with a truck. That was a huge factor for us. We have a Subaru Outback, and wasn't really wanting to have to totally change up our vehicle game for the sake of being able to camp. So something like a tent trailer can be hauled on a much smaller vehicle. Something like a pop-up trailer can be hauled on an SUV. There are even trailers that are so small they can be hauled with things like sedans. So if you check what your vehicle's allowances are for hauling, you'll get an idea of just how much you can tow. But you will probably be surprised at what your vehicle can do.
We did look at a couple different options. We looked at small kind of campers, maybe like a Scamp or like some of the little vintage trailers. And the biggest reason that the pop-up fit us best is it gave everybody a sleeping space. the small campers really fit 2 people, and the pop-ups are much better for a family. We also opted for pretty much the smallest pop-up that there is. That was because we really didn't want to get too close to we wanted to stay as far away from our maximum towing capacity as we could.
A little less wear and tear.
Yeah, we just wanted something that would be easy, and we didn't feel like we needed a lot of space.
How do you deal with clutter?
Jody has been the systems queen for helping us keep a small space fairly tidy. We have collapsible bins that are lightweight and they're mesh. There's one outside where we put our shoes. That way, you're not going to stumble over the shoes. You're not going to lose the shoes. And when that bin is full of, pine needles and sand and goodness knows what else, you can just empty it out and give it a good shake.
Inside, we have a larger collapsible hamper that is our spot to throw all of our dirty laundry. We actually don't camp with a lot of paper products, paper plates, paper towels. We do occasionally use some paper towels, but for the most part, we still use the things we use at home. Cloth napkins, a lot of towels, cloth rags for washing up. And so we do get some more dirty laundry because of that, and we have a spot that we can throw all of that dirty laundry, so it's just ready to go directly into the washing machine when we get home. And at the end of camping, we're just kind of piling everything in there that's been used so that it's really ready and easy to kind of get ready again for our next camping trip.
Keeping the clutter under control is all about having a few things that have a defined purpose. Like we have a small plastic set of drawers that holds things like silverware and cooking utensils, so you know where those things are. We also use a few things hanging up in the camper so we're getting more use out of the space. There's all this dead vertical space in something like a camper, so we have some chains and some wire closet shelving that hang in a couple of areas. That's a perfect spot for board games. We have another one over our sink, so if we're doing dishes, we can put the dishes up there to dry. So those little things help you get the most out of your space while you also don't have to, stumble over a bunch of stuff or wonder where things are.
I would say so far, we haven't even really maxed out our space. Even in the smallest of pop-up campers, as long as you're kind of mindfully packing and mindfully using your space and kind of creating these little systems around how you use your things, it's really easy to pack in what you need.
Yeah.
How do you pack your camper?
If you were to walk into our camper, you step through the door, there's a cabinet right there. The family we bought it from, they called that the garage. So we decided we would keep the same name. So hey, where do we find that? It's in the garage. We keep a lot of our basic supplies there. Things like our batteries, some of the lights, just some of the overall kind of simple supplies. Under one of the benches is another storage space. The family we bought the camper from, they call that the basement, because that's a really adorable name. We keep things in there that we may not need as much, since it's a little more of a process to get to it. Stuff sacks for sleeping bags, gear that's kind of nice to have, like our water filter, some stuff like that, we keep in there. Just things that it's good to have, or you might need it, say, when you're packing up, but you don't necessarily need it as much while you're camping. Some other things we do when we're packing the camper for a trip, often we don't actually use the fridge as a fridge. We use it like a cooler. So when we're packing up, we may pop the camper up a little bit so we can access the fridge and tuck in any of the food that isn't perishable, so, crackers or some fruits, things like that, apples or something. We might tuck all those things inside of there. We'll also put in a lot of our sleeping gear, some of our recreation gear will go inside the camper. And one thing we always make sure to be careful of too is you want to keep most of your weight closer to your vehicle, so not farther back, affects the stability of the camper when you drive if you have too much weight farther in the back.
Why did you get a pop-up trailer?
Well, it all started really at Fiddle Camp.
And Jody's not quite midlife crisis.
Well, so I was teaching at Fiddle Camp, and we camp when we go to Fiddle Camp. And the combination of teaching and sleeping on the ground was not agreeing with me very much. So at that Fiddle Camp, which we have a video about, you can go check it out, I decided that we were not going to do Fiddle Camp again without a pop-up tent.
I must interject that there was also some serious trailer lust happening too. Because at the Fiddle Camp, you've got people coming from all over the region, and there are some seriously cute campers rolling up in this place. And there was definitely some starry-eyed looks.
Well, that's because I knew they were getting better sleep than I was.
And in style.
And in style. So once the idea became an option in my mind, then it was like this whole world of like deeper adventuring.
Mm-hmm.
It being able to just more easily hook up and go. And because whenever we've gone tent camping, we barely fit as it is in our car with our gear and everything. And then on top of that, like it's just a huge process to get ready to go. And we wanted something that might be a little bit easier because most of our gear is just kind of stored in there.
Yeah.
And so we just literally could hook up and go if we wanted to. We do usually do a little more prep than that, but if we wanted to, we really could.
Pretty much, yeah.
We could hit a grocery store for our first, on the way out. We could literally do like no planning.
Yeah.
And go camping.
Yeah.
And that was really attractive to me. And I think I brought you on board.
You jump, I jump, Jeff.
I put a good argument forth and you
said yes, dear.
Yes.
We also knew that a pop-up camper was something we could straight up buy. Used pop-up campers that are in good shape can go for just, maybe a couple $1,000s. And that is definitely, for us, a much nicer spend than going out and buying something new that would have been much spendier. So those are some of the factors that when we kind of ran those numbers and looked at those logistics and thought about what was just a good fit for us emotionally too, that is what led us to going, oh yeah, gotta get the pop-up. You can find more about our camper adventures and other adventures on our website, learnersandmakers.com. Also be sure to ding our bell on YouTube and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of new videos as soon as they drop. And you can follow our everyday adventures on Instagram at Learners and Makers. We cannot wait to share our next camper adventure with you, and we'll see you next time.
I've got my candy. Uh-oh, but I don't have my coffee.
You have your camping shirt, but not your coffee. Your coffee camping shirt.
Now I've got my camping and coffee. Okay.